Good morning, everyone. Welcome to LisaBug Yoga Flow in the month of February of 2025. We are taking special requests this month for areas to work as well as moving with those longevity exercises that we did a couple of years ago, and also for flowing and linking poses together. I had some special requests for neck today and for QL in the lower back. And so we're going to weave those into our class this morning. You will need a hand towel. So let's go ahead and grab that. And I just want you to toss it behind your neck so that it's there ready for you as we start to warm up and move the body. I haven't brought Tai Chi into our classes in a while, so this is not a specific Tai Chi named move, but Tai Chi inspired movement. So take your feet out into your wide Wu Chi, wider than hips distance apart with the toes turned out, and then soften your knees and sink down. And I want you to think about slightly tucking your tailbone under and firing your core, pulling your shoulder blades back. We're just going to bring the hands off to the right-hand side and gaze over the fingertips. And then for today, I'm just going to call this a sliding door. So what I want you to do is just pass your hands right in front of you. Start to look to the other side. And I'm not really twisting my upper body, so I'm just bringing the hands across and turning the head. We'll take it side to side. The lower body is really stable. And we're just using this very slow meditative movement to start to ground and focus on the internal, not the external, not what's going on in the world outside of your home and your yoga mat, but just being in the present moment here. So let's come off to that right side. We'll bend the knees a little deeper and circle the arms down, around, straightening the legs, and then sink in. Come down, take a big inhale, and exhale. So we're starting to warm up through the legs. 2 more. I like using the Ujjayi breath here with that whisper exhale. Hold. And then sliding doors to get to the other side. Lowering the arms, bending the knees deeper down, up, and exhale. You can make these arm circles any size that works for your shoulders or your body. 2 more. Now we'll do 1 sliding door to come off to that right side. 1 downward circle. Slide to the other side. Downward circle. 2 more on each side. And it's up to you how low you bend those knees, how deep your squat is. Maybe vary it a little bit. You might do some baby ones and then some deeper ones. You have 1 more, sliding to the left and circle. And just slide it to the center. And then as you inhale, flip the wrists, let the arms float up. Exhale, sink straight down. So the arms are just coming, floating in front of the body, any height. as we flex and extend through the wrists. Oftentimes in our yoga practice, we're on our hands a fair amount, so it's really nice to warm up that joint into flexion and extension to prepare for any poses on our hands. 2 more. And 1 more. Let's open out, take a breath in. As you exhale, turn to the right and pivot on your right foot and come into Warrior Two. Now you might need to take those feet a little bit wider. And make sure this knee is tracking over the ankle. We'll bring this back hand around to the front hand by twisting through the torso. Then draw the bow, pull back, and look back to that hand behind your body. So we twist, draw the bow, pull, and look back. So essentially we're getting neck rotation here, as well as some spinal rotation and some nice stabilization through the lower body. Hold, come into side angle pose, stretch, and pull up. Anytime we bend side, we're going to lengthen and strengthen the quadratus lumborum, the QL muscle in our lower back. I'm starting to feel this front leg quad. Let's do 2 more. Side angle and up. 1 more side angle and up. Straighten the front leg. We'll give the quad a break and just come into triangle. So triangle is like side angle, except for this leg is straight. And I want you to imagine that your body is between 2 panes of glass, one in front of your body and one behind your body. So we're not leaning over just so that we can get lower down. That doesn't matter. It's all about staying stacked shoulders, left on top of right. Okay, let's rebend that front knee and come back up. We'll do 1 draw the bow, so reach across, pull back, and 1 side angle pose. And come up, draw the bow, reach across, spinal rotation, and side angle for spinal lateral flexion. Let's do 3 more in this flow. And just breathing where it feels right for you. There's no right or wrong where you inhale and exhale. Good, 1 more of each. And then just come back up. Pivot on the feet a little bit so they're both pointing out. Reach up, nice 5-pointed star. And then exhale the arms down. We'll bring the left hand to reach the right side of your towel, the right hand to reach the opposite. And then we're going to lift upward to create a little bit of traction. So I have this right hand is pulling up and then to the side, and then rotate your chin slightly down. And you can pull this side of the towel across your neck slightly. So we're pulling up with the right hand, tipping side with a slight rotation of the neck, and then slightly pulling across to the front with the left hand. Now, I'm going to give you about another 45 seconds here, and then just tweak this any way that feels like you're getting a good stretch. Your core is engaged. You've got a little bit of side bend in your body too, but this is mostly neck. And 30 seconds. So our cervical spine gets a lot of compression just because of the forces of gravity as we walk through the day. Those forces are pulling us down toward the earth, right? So if our head weighs 8 pounds, the force of gravity is pulling that 8 pounds right down into our cervical vertebrae, compressing the discs. All right, let's come back up. And then release that down. I just want you to pause for a moment and notice what you're feeling in the neck. And then we're going to take a breath in. As you breathe out, pivot the left foot and come into your warrior stance. Make any adjustments so you feel comfortable here. You have this knee stacked over the heel. Now the right hand is going to reach across, turning your spine to draw the bow. Pull back and then gaze toward that back hand. Now, I don't know about you, and maybe you'll have to think about it, but since we did that neck stretch on the other side, I feel the mobility of my neck seems a little freer as I'm doing this side-to-side rotation. One more, I'll draw the bow. And then we'll side angle pose, stretch, and pull up. So when we stretch, we're lengthening this side of the QL, the right side, and then we're strengthening it as we pull ourselves back up away from gravity. And really reach out with that arm. Just imagine that something is pulling your arm, not out of the socket, but just really lengthening it through your full range of motion. One more. And back up. Let's straighten out the front leg, our left leg, and then come into our triangle pose. Good. If you want to do any movement of your neck here, you certainly can. We didn't do it on the other side, but that doesn't mean we can't do it here, right? It doesn't have to always be exactly the same from one side to the other. But make sure this top shoulder is slightly drifting back. We don't want it to roll forward. You can look up toward that hand. That's going to challenge your balance a little bit. All right, let's rebend that front knee as we come up. And then we'll link our poses together for a flow. So reaching across, draw the bow, look back to that back hand, and then side angle. So the first pose is a rotation of the spine. And the second is a lateral flexion. The QL muscle is also involved to some degree in this rotation. It's mostly our obliques, but we will feel some stretching and strengthening in the QL there as well. 2 more. Pay special attention to your lower body. Everything is nice and strong and stable, as well as your core. This is our last one. Good. Let's pivot on the feet. Reach up, nice 5-pointed star. And then bring it down. Our right hand is going to reach across to the left side of our towel. Left hand then takes the other side, and we will pull upward. So we're creating a little bit of traction, resisting the force of gravity, pulling our head down toward the earth. And then let's side bend through the neck. And if you'd like, slightly rotate your chin downward. Now you're still pulling up, up, up with this left hand and slightly across with the right. And then I'll give you 45 seconds just to maybe tweak this a little bit. I feel it a little bit more if I drop my chin slightly toward the chest. Wow. It's what the doctor ordered over here, that's for sure. Releasing tension in the neck, the levator scapula, in the scalenes, the upper trapezius. Good, couple more breaths. All right, bring it back up and release it down. Just pause for a moment and check in. I feel like I just need to circle my neck a little bit. All right, so let's come toward the top of your mat. So I'm just going to pivot my feet, take a couple little steps here. We can get rid of the hand towel. So I want to create some traction by using gravity to pull our head the opposite way than what it usually does. And you can do this with a chair or you can do it on the floor, but we are going to step back into downward facing dog. So do a little forward fold. I'm going to reach hands to the chair and then step your feet back and come into your down dog. So what I want you to do is to be able to let your head hang down and allow gravity to pull it toward the earth. And just maybe circle it side to side or up and down. And then just let the tension really relax in your neck. Such a wonderful stretch too for the shoulders and the lats. So I'll come down to the mat for a moment. There's just a little bit more pressure into the shoulders if we are on the floor that we can kind of remove from the picture if we have our hands on a chair. And let's just hold here about 5 more breaths, really relaxing the neck. Two more breaths. And let's walk those feet back in. Let's take a little forward fold here. Hands can again be on the chair. You can bend your knees as much as you need and let the head relax. Just a few more breaths. You can grab elbows for a little ragdoll pose. I like that because when I take hold of my elbows, it pulls my shoulder blades apart a little bit. I can really stretch right in the upper back there. 2 more breaths in your forward fold. Then we'll release the arms. You can bend the knees a little bit more as we reverse swan dive. Up, up, up. And we'll reach. Press the palms together. Exhale into chair. And I want you to really push into your palms. So feel some work here as you press your palms together. So we're going to turn our head to the left as we press our palms over to the right side. So we're in a little bit of a spiral twist. So our torso is turning to the right while our head is turning to the left. Then come back to the center with a nice breath in. Exhale, turn your head to the right as your torso turns to the left. Come back to the center. Let's do one more each side. And make sure your knees don't move. Sometimes when we twist, our knees start going cattywampus. So, wonder where that word came from. My mom used to say it all the time. All right, let's come to the other side. One more. Looking right, torso left, knees straight ahead. And back to the center line. Take a breath in. Come up out of that chair pose. Stretch. And then as you exhale, come into cactus arms or goalpost arms and lift your heart center upward a little bit. Now, without throwing your head back, I don't want you to do that, but I want you to lift through your chin, and you're using your muscles to create this dynamic extension of the front of the neck. 2 more breaths. Oh, great stretch through the front of the shoulders. Great, come back up. Press the palms back together. So this time we'll turn our head the same direction as our torso. Sit into chair, turn everything to the right, except for not your knees. Don't let them do that thing. Keep pushing this hip forward to combat rotating through your hips. Are you pushing into your palms? Because I want you to feel this nice Hasta Bandha hand lock. Let's go to the other side. Push, push, push. I'm almost using my right hand to push my body further to the left. Good. Let's do one more each side. Now your breath should be moving, so try not to hold your breath here. You can use any of those breath techniques we learned last month. And one more. Nice connection here with neck rotation, spinal rotation, a little bit of QL release. And back to center. And let's circle sweep the arms. Inhale, reach up. Exhale into our goalpost or cactus arms. Press the hips forward a little bit and squeeze your glutes, allowing your hip flexors to slightly open and extend your chin slightly upward without tipping your head backward. So we still want the back of the neck long. We're just making the front of the neck longer. Pull those shoulder blades together. Feel that shoulder stretch. One more breath. And exhale, close the palms together. Either using the chair or the mat, we'll come into another downward facing dog. So we fold forward. Hands can come to the chair or down to the floor as we walk the feet back. And I'd like you to separate your feet a little wider than before. So you can almost take up the entire width of your mat. And then we're going to twist in this downward dog. So keep your right hand on the chair or floor as we take our left hand. See if you can reach it across to touch any portion of your leg here. And then turn your spine. You're looking up underneath the right arm. Now, if you have some mobility issues in your shoulder and you can't come into this much range of motion, then it might look more like this with your head looking over the top of your arm. Let's come back to both hands. I'm going to come down to the floor for the other side just to demo that. Reach across. Rotate your spine, looking ideally under your arm, but over if you need to. And then both hands to your down dog. Good, and then walk your feet back, forward bend. Maybe ragdoll. Just let everything relax from the tailbone all the way through the crown of the head, the backs of the legs. And then soften those knees. Inhale, rise back up. Stretch. Press the palms together, bring them to the heart center. So with our chair in front of us as an option to balance, bring your right foot forward slightly, take your left foot back, and you can have your heel down or lift off of your heel. And I have a little bit of bend in this front leg as we are going to come into Warrior 3. So we'll reach the arms out in front of us, shift your body weight to that front foot, lifting off the back foot. This is very much like our standing bird dog. So in standing bird dog, we connect our right foot to the floor, our left hand to the chair, our right hand reaching forward, our left leg reaching back. You can also take your weight out of your left hand to completely balance this pose. 2 more breaths. Then bring both hands to touch your chair. And we are going to lift up and down off of the standing leg heel 5 times. So raise up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. Let that back foot find the mat. Release the chair. Hands come to heart center. And then we'll just swap the legs. So left foot comes forward. Right foot steps back. You can have your heel down or lifted. And then let's get prepared for our Warrior 3. Have your hips squared forward. Little soft bend in your front leg. As we reach down, if we need to hold the chair, lifting the back leg up. So if we make this our standing bird dog, your right hand will be on the chair, your left arm will be reaching, your right leg really active. Try to push out into your heel of that back leg. Head should be neutral, so we're not looking up or letting our head sink down. Good. Challenge yourself. Make any other additions or subtractions to this pose. 2 more breaths. And then both hands find your chair. We're going to lift up off the heel 5 times. Lift up and down. Challenging. 2. If a single leg isn't working for you, just lift off both heels with both feet on the floor. Here's 4. 1 more. 5. Then reach that foot back behind you. Come back up. It's a little short stance, warrior 1. And then step the feet back together. Arms by your side. Great. Okay, we are going to come down onto our mat. I'd like you to have your hand towel at the top of your mat where your head would be. So we can use that in as a prop in a couple of the poses. And then you also might need a little blanket here. We're going to do a modified thread the needle or mermaid, and I like to sit up on a blanket for that. So I'm going to put that down onto the floor. So take your time, come on down into our Z-sit position. So when I come into Z-sit, with my legs off to this side, or what would be your left, I sit up on the blanket with my right hip because this makes my body a little bit more upright because of my tight hips. If your hips are pretty open, you might not need to sit up on a blanket. And then we're just going to reach the right hand out to touch the floor. Now, you're not collapsing into this or putting a lot of weight into this wrist. I want you to use your core so that you could actually take your hand off the floor without falling over. So keep everything tight. And we're really going to deeply stretch the obliques and the QL. So let's bring that arm up and then rotate way back behind you. So you're going to feel a stretch through this shoulder. And then as we exhale, we'll reach the left hand through. Anchoring yourself to the ground with your right hand will help you to find a deeper twist. Good. And let's just go back and forth between these two positions. We'll do a total of 5 of each. And really look behind you over that shoulder. 2 more. So we're doing a rotation with our neck with gravity in a different spot. You know, it's to the side of our head, right? So it's pulling our head down this way. So it really does give you a nice challenge here, a nice stretch. Okay, let's come all the way up. And then take this hand and bring it to the floor and maybe separate your hands a little wider apart. And I just want you to use both hands into the mat to find a nice twist. And we are going to do 5 push-ups. Now I don't want to see your elbows go out like this. I want you to keep them tucked in like a chaturanga. So go down, push up. 4 more. Now notice the stretch you're getting when you come down in the left side of your body. 3 more. 2 more. And 1 more. And let's walk our hands toward the front knee here and guide yourself down like you're going to do that push-up, but hold about 3 counts. 2, 1, and then press up. So now we're getting a little bit more of a hip stretch as we go down. Hold. 3, 2, 1, push up. Oop, I was letting my elbows go out. Take your elbows back a little bit. 3, 2, 1, and up 2 more. exhale. One more. Stretch. 3, 2, 1, and press up. Good. Walk your hands behind your body and lean back any amount until you feel this quad stretching. I was always enamored of people in my yoga class that could lay all the way down onto their back. Enamored, is that a good word? Envious? No, I was enamored. Knowing that would never be me, but just looking sometimes at the ease that people do some things that are completely off the table for me. Oh, I'm feeling my triceps working back here. Okay, let's bring it up. You're going to adjust your Z-sit position, so bringing your legs over to the other side. And then if you're using that blanket, it's going to be under your left hip. Now, this could be completely different on this side. For me, it is. I'm tighter through my hip to sit upright on this side. So do what you can. But we'll be over here, which makes this a little bit easier, right? Okay, let's inhale, open this back. Look behind you. Then exhale with our modified thread the needle. Oh, that's such a great stretch in the back. You shouldn't be feeling any pain or discomfort. Three more. So we have the rotation of the head with gravity to the left side of our head. Really nice, generous breaths with this, full exhalations. We have one more. All right, now let's reach it up here one more time. And then we'll put the hand to the floor. Maybe separate the other hand back behind you a little bit and then rotate your spine. Now we're not forcefully cranking it. This should feel like a nice twist. And then we'll bend the elbows down to come into our push-up and press up. You can make this a baby push-up, or you can really bring your chest down to the floor. We did 5 on the other side. Two more, nice and controlled. One more. And start to walk your hands so that now your chest is over this leg. And we'll lower down so we feel a stretch and then hold there. 3, 2, 1, and push up. Now, if it's bothering your shoulders to do this push up, maybe you just hold this stretch for your hip rather than adding the push-ups. That works out great too. Two more. My triceps are still a little bit sore after Tuesday's class. I think it was those bottom half chest presses. One more time. And come up. Good. All right. Walk your hands behind your body and lean back any amount. Ooh, yes. I got to scoot forward a little bit to have room behind me. So big stretch in the quad. If you're tight like me, if your quads aren't tight, you might be saying, I just really don't know what you're feeling, Lisa. But it's big for me. This is a nice pose in a restorative class where you prop yourself up with a bunch of bolsters behind, and then you can just lay back on the bolsters and close your eyes and relax and let that stretch just happen for about 5 minutes. All right, let's come up. And then we're just going to take this leg around to the front. Let's do some windshield wipers. So your feet are a little wider than your hips. Your knees are as well, as we drop from one side to the other. And my triceps are saying, would you stop leaning back on your arms? Oh, just a few more breaths for these. Then we're going to be going back into some neck stretching, and which is the reason I have my little towel there up at the top of the mat. So we're going to be laying on our belly. Okay, so let's get ready and in that position. So you'll have your head up toward the top of your mat and you're laying on your front side. Now, I know for some of you, it's not going to be very comfortable for you to lay like this. So I want to give you some options. Maybe using the blanket will be helpful. So when we lay on our stomach, we're the opposite of laying on our back. Yes. And laying on our back is Shavasana. So this is a reverse Shavasana position. You should have your feet about hips distance or a little wider apart, and let your toes roll in and your heels roll out. So what we're going to do, if you're having trouble turning your head to the side and it's not comfortable, I want you to use your hands up here and support your forehead with your hands, and then see how far you can turn your head to the right and then just rest there. If you've got some pretty good mobility for your neck, what we do is we bring the hands next to the side of the body and we let the shoulders relax and roll forward as our head is turned to the right. And it's sometimes difficult to breathe when we're laying on our belly. I can tell as I'm trying to talk, I can't get a good breath. So I want you to think about breathing into the back side of your ribs as you inhale. I'm just going to be here another 30 seconds, but if you need to come out sooner, please do so. Try not to clench your jaw when you're in this position. Let your mouth be relaxed. Just one more breath. And then use the strength of the back of your neck and your upper back to lift up a little bit, so to bring your head now to neutral. And we're going to reach our arms behind us. If you want to use this hand towel, you can bring it behind your back and then lift your chest up. And if you'd like, you can lift your legs up a little bit into cobra. Or sorry, not cobra. Locust. Now, try not to lift your head up. It's interesting because it makes us feel like we're doing this pose bigger. If we go like that, it's not really. So I want you to keep the back of your neck long and use your back muscles to lift up, tighten your glutes. Keep breathing. Just 2 more breaths. And then relax it down. I'm going to put my hand towel back here to lay my face against it. So again, you can be here stacking your hands to make a pillow for your forehead, and then just see how far you can turn your head to the left, or set your head down, bring your arms behind you, your palms turn up, your shoulders melt forward in our reverse Shavasana. And then send your breath to the backside of your ribs, relaxing tension in your neck and shoulders. So we had the article about keeping our mats clean. Really made me think about that, I probably have a lot of microbes on this mat, and then put our face down on it. So I think this is a nice idea. If we're not sure our mat's really clean, is to use a nice clean towel after we've had our hands and feet on our mat. Just a couple more breaths. And then use the strength of your upper back to lift up, turning your head back to neutral. Reach your hands behind you or grab hold of your towel and lift up into your locust. Tighten your glute muscles. Make your legs nice and long. Keep breathing. Two more breaths. And then just let your hands slide right underneath your shoulders. Press yourself up and back to a child's pose. If you're having difficulty being on your knees, you can just come up and sit up. And then we'll transition to laying on our back now. We can use our hand towel like a yoga strap to help us do some stretches here. Beautiful. Get yourself in a nice position. And let's start with our left leg this time. Bring the foot underneath that hand towel or yoga strap and extend your leg up. Right knee can stay bent, or if it feels okay for your lower back, we can lengthen that leg out. That's a big stretch through my hip flexor, but I need it, so I'm going to hang in there. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes on this side to do any stretches you want to do. So maybe you stay right here for 2 minutes. Maybe you come across for the IT band. Maybe you open your leg out to the side for inner thigh. Maybe you bring your knee across and do a pigeon. So you pick for the next 2 minutes. Take a look at my clock here and do your own stretches. I talked about this a couple classes ago in our chat about giving you more options to explore what your body needs. So getting you into something, a pose or position, and then letting you run with it. And that might mean when you get to the other leg, you're doing something completely different because it's what you need.